And I really want to get the whole community together behind on this because together we can do a great job and we can get us out of this number 2 spot here.
I'm your host, Taylor Ann Carpenter, and welcome to The Talk Chamber, a production of the Greater Memphis Chamber. The Talk Chamber is the podcast for the latest on the Chamber, economic development, and all things Memphis. Today's episode features Leighanne Soden, president of West Cancer Foundation. Leighanne, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Taylor Ann. I'm thrilled to be here.
So I want to dive right in. Tell us, what is West Cancer Foundation and how did it get its start?
We got our start in the fall of 2019. We decided to bring together some business leaders, civic leaders, faith-based leaders, and form a new foundation that serves the entire population of Memphis, not just West Clinic, even though our name is West Cancer Center. We work with all hospital systems and providers. So we were very excited, had a great board of directors, got a great start, and then 2 weeks later, we all know what happened, COVID, in March of 2020. But we were steadfast and we were determined. So we raised actually in our first year of operations during the middle of COVID, $1.2 million. And we were thrilled by that because, again, it was COVID and we weren't even actually offering any of the free programs. Right. But in a hindsight, a bit of a blessing because we were able to spend that time actually raising money so that when everything was uplifted and we were ready to go out again, we were ready to start and had money to fund those free programs that we wanted to do.
That's awesome. That is $1.2 million in that during COVID is definitely an achievement.
Being brand new.
Yes. Yes, 100%. And how did you get involved with West Cancer Foundation? How did that?
I've been working with West Clinic quite a bit. I'd worked with American Cancer Society with the Harris Hope Lodge here in Memphis. And I met so many of the great folks at West. And I went to work with them in 2012. And we worked with Methodist, had the great partnership. But unfortunately, when that partnership ended, these civic leaders and business leaders came to me and said, let's keep going. We've got to keep doing what we were doing and let's just start our own and do it the best way we know how to help as many patients as we can with cancer.
Definitely. So y'all were founded in 2020 during COVID. What were the biggest initial challenges in launching a new nonprofit focused on cancer care during that time? And how has that kind of shaped or changed your approach as we live in the post-pandemic world?
Well, it taught us to work really hard and raise a lot of money when people said, I don't think we'll be able to do that. But we did. We did our West Fight On, which is our signature fundraising event every fall. It's a cycle, run, or walk event out at Shelby Farms, and we have a celebration for survivors and caregivers. And that year, obviously, we could not do it in person. But we did it virtually and still raised over $700,000.
That's awesome.
Which was a big chunk of the money we raised that first year. And I tell you what that taught us was no matter what's going on, people are being diagnosed with cancer, COVID or not, and people need our help regardless of what's going on in the community. Our tagline is breaking barriers to cancer care. We know so much, especially all of you here at the Chamber know about the disparities that we face in this community. And there's so many underserved, uninsured, underinsured, that sometimes they just give up. If they're diagnosed with cancer, they give up or they don't want to know. And unfortunately, so many of those people end up in the emergency room at stage 4 of some type of cancer. Mm-hmm. So we can't let that happen. So what we try to do is a lot of prevention. And then also, once you are a cancer patient, unfortunately, provide programs to help you through your journey.
Could you actually expand on those programs a little bit? Is it physical care? Is it emotional care? Is it support? What is it?
It's a lot. First and foremost, transportation. That is the biggest barrier to care and health care in the country, across the country. In Memphis, we obviously have challenges. We have some public transportation challenges. So transportation to and from a patient's appointment, again, regardless of where the provider is, we work with Baptist, Methodist, St. Francis, West, all of them. We work with them very closely. And if you can't get to your appointment, even if you have insurance, then what good is it? So last year we provided over 7,000 free transportation rides.
Wow.
To cancer patients here in our community. And that's invaluable because so many people will tell us, well, I was going to give up and, I knew I couldn't get there every day at a certain time. And we said, don't worry about that. We've got that taken care of. We'll help you. So that's a huge program for us. The second, and this being October is a great time to talk about, is we provide free breast screenings. And we've been doing this since 2021. That was
Okay.
one of the first programs that we started. We all know that breast cancer disparities are high in our community, and unfortunately, Taylor Ann, we just received some research that shows that Memphis has lost some momentum in the battle against breast cancer. Research has just come out that shows that Memphis is tied at number 2 with Chicago for having the worst breast cancer mortality rates with Black women in our community. We are behind only Atlanta, Georgia, in those horrible statistics. So that means we're number 2 or number 3, depending on how you look at it, which is unacceptable. We cannot have that notification, that star by us that, hey, yeah, look how bad we are. We've got to mobilize the entire community to get together, and this is a great month to do it. The importance of early detection. So many cancers, you'll hear it on the morning news every day this month. Every day with us, we say is Breast Cancer Awareness Day, not just October, because we preach it year-round. But this program is so important because if you can get in and get early detection, you have a 90% chance of survival rate. But if you don't get that early detection, then the odds are really against you, especially, unfortunately, here in Memphis with our Black ladies. And I really want to get the whole community together behind on this because together we can do a great job and we can get us out of this number 2 spot here, which is, to me, just it's completely unacceptable, and we should all be up in arms about that. That's an epidemic. So we're working very hard, working closely with, thank goodness, the Chamber's going to help us out with some things, and then all of our other partners within the community, partners like Church Health, Christ Community, American Cancer Society, UT Health Science Center, all incredible partners with us in this fight.
That's great that we have so many partners who are willing to fight. And I want to touch a little bit more on Breast Cancer Awareness Month later in this episode. But for now, you mentioned that your mission emphasizes removing the barriers to cancer care through collaboration and these partnerships that we've discussed. Can you give some more examples of the key partnerships and the impact that they've had on the community?
Sure. We've worked with the University of Memphis, the School of Public Health, and we have funded some smaller research grants there, mainly socioeconomic type research grants, because we know the science of breast cancer, which I'm certainly not an expert there,
Right.
But I have access to a lot of really good ones. But we don't really understand a lot of the social side of it and the cultural differences. Sometimes it may cause some of these horrible disparities that we have. So we've studied a little bit of that with U of M. We work closely with UT Health Science Center, especially this College of Nursing with Dean Wendy Likes. She's on our board of directors, and she's very, very passionate about cancer care in our community and cancer prevention. So they're an incredible partner. We worked with Church Health from day one. They are a wonderful referral source for us to all of the free programs that we provide cancer patients, and so many more that we work with on a daily basis that work with our community director of outreach. She's out there on the streets every single day, pounding the pavement and getting the word out, because that's truly a grassroots movement. She goes to everywhere where we know there are women who need us. And she talks about the importance of the free breast screening. She gets them signed up on the spot, and then we take care of them.
That's incredible. So what are the most pressing unmet needs in cancer care that you've identified through your work and through your programs, and how do you plan to continue to tackle them over the next few years?
Well, unfortunately, Memphis is what I say ground zero for cancer mortality rates, especially in breast, prostate, lung, and colorectal cancers. Our disparities are far above all national averages. Our poverty rate, I don't have to tell you all at the Chamber this, but our poverty rate is almost double the national average for Black citizens in our community, and that's a big part of the problem that we have. So what do? We educate a lot. We get women into their screenings. But we also were looking at prostate. We started a prostate screening program because, again, Memphis and prostate cancer, really horrible statistics. I don't have up-to-date information as I do on breast, but we know it's one of the big killers, along with colorectal and then, of course, lung cancer screening. We're actually looking into some ways that we could possibly, maybe in 2026, work with some lung cancer specialists in town and maybe some of the urology groups to help provide more and more prostate screenings.
That's great. So I heard recently that the American Cancer Society projects over 2 million new cancer cases and 618,000 deaths nationwide in 2025. That's what they've projected. So how does this national trend compare to the Mid-South cancer and mortality rates?
Unfortunately, we're a little bit higher than the national rates that you're seeing there. And again, it's so many factors in Memphis of why. We know a lot of them. We studied it all the time, but we're at that level, we got to take the next step. We think we know why. We think there's some scientific reasons why, some genetic issues, but really it's unfortunately the poverty, and it's the lack of education, and then the lack of insurance if people aren't insured. Now, we will pay for a mammogram if you can afford it. If you have insurance, if you can't afford the copay, we will pay the copay for that mammogram.
That's awesome. For you personally, why are you passionate about this work? Why does this work excite you?
I've been in nonprofit fundraising most of my life. Got my very start here at the Chamber in I don't want to tell you the year. That was my first real job, and I sort of got that development bug, fundraising bug, and that's why I'm passionate about fundraising in general. Then in 2003, I took a job with the American Cancer Society. They wanted to have a capital campaign to build the Hope Lodge here in Memphis, which is right next door to Sun Studio.
Yep.
And that is like a home away from home for adult cancer patients. And because I started this working on this campaign, and I was meeting with the heads of all hospital systems, and they were telling us about just stories that make you want to cry about people coming and living in their car with their family for anywhere from a week to however long, because they needed to come here because we have the best resources in Memphis in the medical community. But if you can't get here, then that doesn't help you at all. So patients can come to the Hope Lodge and stay completely free of charge as long as they're going through their treatment. Well, that really got me excited about cancer and what I felt like I could make a difference. So we did complete the Hope Lodge campaign. And then, unfortunately, not long after that, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was one of the lucky ones because even at her age, she gets her annual mammograms, by the Bible. And they found a small lump, and luckily for her, she didn't have to have anything but a lumpectomy. No treatment, thank goodness. And she's done very, very well. And then not long after that, my father was diagnosed with cancer, and his outcome, unfortunately, was as good because, like a lot of men and people in general, they just don't want to know. And, my dad was that greatest generation, and, he was tough as nails. But cancer, within 6 months, after diagnosed, we had lost my daddy to cancer. So that made me want to even fight harder that much more for all the people that didn't even have the resources my daddy had.
So you've got the personal connection to the work you're doing.
I do.
And I know that makes all the difference and drives you to do the work on the hard days.
Yes.
Because I know not every day, especially when it comes to something like cancer, not every day is a happy-go-lucky day.
No, it isn't. But there's so many incredible fighters out there every day. We just had our Ride to Rosemary send-off. This is an incredible group of men. They started 15 years ago. This is their 15th year. And when they started, it was a group of 9 men. One gentleman in particular, Chuck Bolton, the founder, he'd gone through some really tough personal times, and he told a few of his friends that, I'm just going to literally ride my bike down to Rosemary Beach and try and clear my head. And so several of his friends said, well, we'll go with you. And so that's how it started with 9 men. And they didn't start it as a fundraiser, but on their way down there and telling their story, because several of them had gone through a very difficult cancer diagnosis themselves or a family member. And so people started giving them some money along the way down there, and that's how this started. And today, last Saturday morning, 72 men took off from West Cancer Center and rode their bikes. They left Tuscaloosa this morning on the way down to Rosemary Beach, 72 of them. And they have raised already $300,000, and their goal is $350,000. So if any of you know any of those incredible Rosemary men, they're very recognizable all over the community in their pink jerseys. The point of that story is when we had the send-off, there was a young man that we had met during West Fight On back in September, and he has brain cancer. And he's been told that the prospects are not that good for him. And he was there Saturday morning cheering on all these guys and had his treatment, his hat on with his treatment and the port. And that's truly fighting. I mean, that's someone who there knows he may not be here for next year's, but he's there cheering them on.
I want to pivot a little bit and talk about October.
Yes.
We've already discussed it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I think it's important to talk about the reason that we recognize it. Several people may not truly realize it and think about it during the month. Yes, we wear pink and they know that what it is, but what does that mean? So my question is, what is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and why do we recognize it?
We recognize it because here in Memphis especially, it is so important. We've got to get out of that top 10 of the worst cities with mortality rates in Black women. There's no excuse why we can't do that. That's why we've got to come together as a community. This movement has been going on for over 40 years now, pink. And, Susan G. Komen played a huge role in all of that, as did the American Cancer Society nationally. It means an awful lot, especially the more women we can get educated about the importance of it. And then especially younger women, don't think just because you're not 40 yet that you don't need to pay attention to your breast health. When you go to see your OBGYN, make sure that they do the breast exam there as well. And if you have any symptoms at all or a strong family history, please, if you don't have insurance, call us today and we will get you signed up for a free mammogram. It's an epidemic, and I don't like seeing this in my great city happening. We have the resources to do it. We can come together and do it so that women don't end up in the ER, at stage 4 for a lot of different reasons, cultural, financial, a lot of reasons why. And we've got to come together as a city and fight this, just like, we're fighting crime, and we're going to make great strides in fighting crime. We can do this with breast cancer if we bring everybody to the table together.
Definitely. How is breast cancer affecting the Memphis community as a whole? You've talked about Black women and the disparities there. Mm-hmm. Again, just tell us about that and what it's like for other demographics.
It's the breast mortality rates are still not where we want them to be. And we still are making a lot of progress. 90% cure rate if caught early. That's a really good statistic. And that's something we want to hang on to and keep encouraging women. I think we lost a lot of women of all races, all types during COVID because people did not want to go and get their screenings. And we're actually, one of oncologists that I work with, he has told me we're seeing some of the effects of those years of COVID when people didn't get screening, and now the incidence is a little bit higher in everyone that didn't take care of those during those horrible years of COVID. So it's just so important, and we can't stress that enough, and it doesn't hurt. It may be just a little uncomfortable for a moment, but it's so much worth getting that screening as it is being diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah. Will you share that positive statistic one more time? Because I think it's important that we note that we are making strides and there is steps forward.
Right. So 90% cure rate if caught early in detection. Stage 1, sometimes stage 2. And I'm not a medical professional, but I just work with so many that I know that you've got to get those screens on an annual basis. Don't miss even 6 months. We hear stories about ladies, I was about 9 months late, a year and 9 months late getting mine and came, stage 2. Don't let that happen. Get your screenings. If you can't afford it, we will help you. We'll help get you there through our transportation program. If you can't get to the treatment facility, we'll get you there.
So in Memphis, health disparities hit hard, and Black women are facing these breast cancer mortality rates. And I read 79% higher than white women, topping the national list for these inequities. What ways is West Cancer Foundation lowering these disparities?
We're working every day, literally. We're working on our metrics right now because I can tell you how many women we have helped receive a free mammogram, and when we call them every year, and remind them it's time for me to set your next appointment, Ms. Smith. And we're doing that, but still we're not getting the reach to as many people as we want. One thing that we work really closely with are faith-based leaders in the community, especially in the Black churches. Not only are the pastors, but also the pastors' wives and the women in leadership, like Pastor Diane Young, who has been on our board from day one, and she does this all day, every day long. She tells people how important it is to get their screenings. She helped host our first prostate screening event with us about a year ago, and she tells the ladies and the men, you've got to do what I say. You don't want to do it because your doctor tells you. You won't even do it if your family, your husband, your daughter, but you have got to do this. You've got to get those ladies in for their screenings, and they'll listen to their church leader. More times they certainly will listen to me or even their physician or their family. And how many mammograms that we've provided so far this year? We've provided 153, wow. And we have capacity to provide many, many more, especially in these last few months of the year. So call us now. Help us to help you get to that treatment facility. We work with Regional 1, both Quince and downtown locations, St. Francis, both Bartlett and Park locations, and the Margaret West Breast Cancer Center on Wolf River Boulevard. Those are all sites that women can choose to go to. We give them, try to have a good geographic area for them to choose from, depending on where they live and work. So they can call us, and wherever they tell us they want to go, we'll get it set up. And another great thing we have that's sort of in conjunction with that is we have a Sweet Wig Beauty Boutique. Tell
us about that.
Oh, in our office. It is the most wonderful program, especially the staff. We get so excited when ladies come in because it's actually within our offices at Ridge Lake Boulevard, and it is a beautiful room that we turned into a spa boutique room. And we have wonderful spa music playing. We have waterfalls. We offer the ladies, tea, coffee, water. And they come into this great safe space. It's a beautiful room. And they can try on as many wigs as they want to. Completely free of charge. We'll give them up to 3 wigs and or head coverings and scarves. And the ladies come in and, they don't feel well. For one, they're in active treatment and they're losing their hair. And the treatment makes them feel badly. But they come into this room and they come out a different person because, our hair is our crown. I mean, all women, we love our hair. And I can't imagine losing it, and especially not being able to afford a wig. We have women tell us that they had to make a decision. Well, I wanted a free wig until I knew about you all. It was like, well, no, I got to feed my kids. I got to put gas in the car. I can't afford a wig. No woman should have to make that decision in this community. We have so many free wigs, and that is a very emotional side effect of breast cancer. Along with, we have a post-mastectomy program where we provide free prosthesis, bras, undergarments for ladies who are either choose not to have reconstruction or in the process of going through reconstruction. Mm-hmm. Because, again, that makes a woman feel whole, just like having your hair. So that's a really important program that we provide. We've been doing that program for years, and it's very successful. Then on the other side effect of some breast cancers, but it can be any type of cancers, but a lot of breast cancer, ladies develop something called lymphedema, which is, again, my unscientific mind, really horrible swelling on extremities, arms, and it can be very painful, and skin can get infected if you don't have the proper garments, compression garments to help. So we offer free gloves, sleeves, compression garments, anything that will help with that lymphedema because it is so painful. People, especially women, will tell us, I had to buy new clothes because I couldn't even get my arms through my clothes. And again, that shouldn't happen here in this community. And those garments are very expensive, anywhere from $250 to $500, some of them. And they're all custom made for the ladies. So that's another huge program that we help with. I can't imagine having that side effect and then suffering because I couldn't afford to get the right treatment for it.
Yeah, that's awesome work that you guys are doing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We're about to wrap up, but I do have another question for you. Y'all are doing such great work. And so my question is, how is West Cancer Foundation making Memphis greater?
We work every day at doing this. One thing we're working on right now is our 26 through 29 strategic plan, and we've got big plans for this foundation going forward. We want to really be the catalyst that brings everyone together in the fight against cancer. Because, again, we work with everyone, and we're so proud of the incredible partnerships that we currently have with so many folks. But we've got a lot of work to do, as is evidenced by these unfortunate new breast cancer statistics. And we're making Memphis better because one woman at a time, one patient at a time, we're helping people who otherwise would not have received any of the care, the transportation, the support that they need in this horrible time of their journey. We're doing it one patient at a time.
Leighanne, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing about the work that you're doing and the state of cancer diagnosis and treatment in our city. We appreciate the work you're doing and how you're making Memphis greater.
Thank you so much, Taylor Ann.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Talk Chamber. We are so glad you're here. West Cancer Foundation is doing such amazing work to make strides in the fight against cancer. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but that doesn't mean it stops once the month is over. Continue to support and recognize patients and survivors of breast cancer. If you enjoyed this episode or learned a valuable piece of information, share it with a friend or maybe even a colleague. Subscribe to the Talk Chamber